Well, do you hear me okay? If you do, give me that thumbs up. Well, I don't see pictures, so I don't know. Or even just come on and say yes.
Yes.
All right, that's good. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get started, but first I want to say thank you. We've had our elections that have happened. And I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve you once again for District 4 Commissioner. And also to all our veterans out there, I want to say happy Veterans Day. I know it was yesterday, but thank you for your service. And just thank you for what you've done for our country and allowing us the freedom and the safety to go vote as well. We're gonna go ahead and get started with, we're talking about state of the District 4 right now. We have gone ahead and implemented an impact advisory board, which is going to begin to meet effectively, I believe it's in December, their first meeting, to begin to discuss putting impact fees and some other fees on commercial development going on in the community. So we're going to do that, and hopefully that's going to help us to increase a much stronger infrastructure with our streets, with our roads, with our sidewalks, and with our curbing. So that's what that's all about. Our government building, we are still planning for that and in the design phase. For all you library lovers for City of Jonesboro, as you can see, we are looking at putting the new library in the same location as the old existing library. So I want to let everyone know about that. We will be discussing and talking about some of our code enforcement blitzes that have taken place and the increased efforts that we're going to have in the near future. But first, let's go ahead and with Kristen Hunt, the digital equity presentation. Kristen doing that one? Is she on? And we want to bring her in to speak on digital equity. Kristen? Where's that? I'm not sure where it is. It is, okay. They're trying to queue it up. So it's a small little short video we're going to show you about digital equity. And hopefully it enlightens some folks on what we need to do to take care of our systems, computer systems, and things of that nature. They put it together. I gotta wait. Let's go to the next one. Okay, we'll go to the next one. All right. Captain Flynn, we want to go ahead and speak on our crime stats.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Can everybody hear? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm actually going to be covering for both myself and for Captain Maddox. Captain Maddox is out of town. So the big thing that we're seeing, that we're both continuing to see, is the entering autos, thefts from vehicles. And, you know, predominantly still is vehicles being left unlocked and items being left in cars. You know, that's probably the one greatest, you know, thing that can be done is just securing vehicles and putting things away. Cheaper, it's called now.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
You're breaking up a little bit, Captain Flynn. Hopefully.
All right. Can you hear me now? I'm sorry.
I can hear you
I'm
now.
sorry.
Yes, sir.
Chief Roberts said he was trying. He's been trying to get in, but for whatever reason, he's not able to join. So I'll just be covering for him as well.
Okay.
All right. But what I was saying, as far as the entering autos, you know, it's unsecured vehicles and property being left, you know, out. The thing that I've seen over the last 2 weeks is firearms being left in vehicles. And I think each week I've had at least 2 entering autos where firearms were taken out of vehicles on those weeks. As far as violent crime, I have seen on my sector an increase in violent crime where firearms are involved. The only, I guess you could call it a redeeming thing about it is that this is not stranger on stranger stuff. It's people that know each other, but it seems like more and more people are resorting to, grabbing a firearm whenever they have a dispute with somebody. It's not necessarily that they're shooting at each other, but firearms are involved in these crimes of violence that are occurring. But like I said, it's probably 98% of what's occurring is people who are known to each other that have some type of relationship to each other where this is occurring. As far as the other things, just with the holidays approaching, obviously ask that residents be wary of strangers in their neighborhoods. This is the time of year where we traditionally see burglaries and things like that increase as the holiday season arises. Criminals will take the opportunity to do Christmas shopping at people's houses. And, for as long as I've been here, there's always seems to be a rise, especially once we get past Thanksgiving, there's a rise in burglaries that occur. So just be cognizant of the people who are in your neighborhood. And if you see anything that's out of place or somebody who's out of place, do not hesitate to call 911 and let us come out and find out, who they are and why they're there.
Great. Do you want to give any kind of advice? I know the holiday season is coming up. Folks will be out Christmas shopping for me.
Yes. And it kind of goes along the same lines as what I was saying earlier about leaving things out where they can be seen. If you can secure, obviously you can't always, go somewhere and take things out of your car. If you can secure them in a trunk or cover them in some way, a lot of times, especially cars like hatchbacks and SUVs have like the little cargo covers for the back area where you can't just readily see in. Sometimes that's just enough. And then of course the other thing is, securing your car. That's the biggest thing. And I will say, I don't want to steal code enforcement's thunder, but we had a couple of weeks ago, we did the joint operation between the PD, code enforcement, the fire department, and community development at Terra Woods Apartments. I know there's been a lot of interest in that over the last year or so. I won't go into everything there, but I know code enforcement did identify multiple violations and condemn at least 2 buildings in that complex.
Great. And we'll get into, you want to get into that now, or does code enforcement want to come on and join you and begin to speak on that now?
If they want to, like I said, I didn't want to steal their thunder from them, if that's because that's on their side.
Code enforcement.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about the Blitz. I know it went successful.
The Blitz at Terra Woods was very successful. We placed total condemnations on 2 buildings at Terra Woods. We opened up a handful of interior cases. We also worked with community development and their code enforcement and placed roughly 8 to 10 stop work orders being done in vacant units. They received 3 code board citations. The owner of the property actually has 5 magistrate citations that he has to go to court on later in the month. We hit him pretty hard.
Great. What's the next step here for the citizens to understand and know?
Well, the next step is to see if their buildings are going to be put into compliance under the 2018 building codes. If not, we'll pursue the nuisance abatement actions and have a court order to have them torn down.
And what kind of time frame have we given them in order to get up to code?
The first time frame is 30 days, and that's in order to pull the initial permits, whatever initial permits need to be pulled for demolition.
Okay, great. Well, like I say, this was a great effort. It was planned in advance. Before that, we've had a lot of issues with Terra Woods in the past, and we're really trying to not only address that with Terra Woods, but a lot of other properties here in District 4. We've got to jump on this. We've got to jump on it immediately, and now we've got to jump on it with some teeth, and we've got to get code enforcement and our officers' teeth to get in there to make it happen. So hopefully this is moving in the right direction. And but again, citizens, if you see of any other what we believe are potential violations, please bring them up and let us know about them so that we can begin to address them immediately.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes, ma'am.
This is Judy Taylor. You know, of course, I've been working on Tara Woods Apartments for a long time and everything too. I had a question. When they're talking about the two buildings, a condemnation, are they talking about the buildings that have burned and are already not, nobody's in them anyway, and the roof's falling in and everything else been sitting there? Are they talking about other units?
You
Well,
want to?
if I may, Commissioner, good morning, Ms. Taylor.
Good morning.
The first building, Building A, that was partially burned, was only partially condemned. But we had a building inspector come out and advise there was other damage to the majority of the building, and recommended that that building be completely condemned and the one tenant living in that unit be moved somewhere else. The other building is a building in the back, which is completely vacant. It's not burned, but it's completely vacant, and it has been vandalized in such a way that it is unfit for human occupancy and a public safety hazard.
This really sounds promising. I'm looking forward to seeing all this, and I can't wait for all of it to happen. And I'm sure everyone else is going to be pleased about that too. So thank you to everybody who's been working on that.
Thank you.
I also will say the magistrate court just started hearing last month, these nuisance abatement cases that's been going on since pre-pandemic. So we're moving in the right steps to get back on track.
And that's
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can you do us a favor just to define what nuisance abatement is for our constituents out there?
Okay, a nuisance abatement is basically the removal of a structure, building, based on it being unsafe structures, unfit for human occupancy, public safety issue. That specifically goes towards a building or a structure,
Right.
versus a regular abatement is the property. That's where the county comes in and with inmates and cleans the property to bring the property back up to standards. A nuisance abatement involves a court order from a judge to have the owner do it. If the owner doesn't have to do it, then the county has to have it done.
Great. Any questions for Captain Flynn or our code enforcement?
Commissioner Davis, I just want to let you know Chief Roberts is in now. I don't know if
Okay. Chief Roberts, anything you want to add about the blitz here?
I know I'm glad I was able to join to hear Captain McDonald's presentation, but I will say this, it was a collaborative effort, and Tara Woods is only the beginning. The Quality of Life Task Force is meeting regularly. We're moving throughout the county in this manner to try to get some corrective action and some compliance from these delinquent property owners. So look for more to be forthcoming, but I know, as Ms. Taylor has let us know over the years, this has been overdue. I'm glad that we can try to find some relief for our citizens in this space.
Great. Thank you for that. I'm going to bring you back, Chief, in a moment. But first, I want to go back to the digital equity presentation to begin to give folks an understanding of what's taking place with that. You want to go ahead and cue that up? Technology. This is where we want to go. There you go.
County District 4. This presentation will provide you with a brief overview of digital equity and inclusion and how your Office of Digital Equity plans to address the digital divide issue in Clayton County. Digital equity and inclusion means that all residents and businesses have equal access to not just reliable, but affordable high-speed internet. Also, residents and businesses have access to technology such as smartphones, laptops, and tablets, and residents and businesses have the computer skills and digital literacy needed to survive in the digital world. According to the 2020 census of Clayton County's almost 300,000 residents, about 20% do not have access to reliable and affordable high-speed internet. On average, Clayton County residents have internet download speeds of 25 megabits per second and upload speeds of 3 megabits per second. Our goal is for county residents and businesses to have access to a minimum speed of 100 megabits per second download and 25 megabits per second upload. This will allow for digital devices to operate with minimal buffering, particularly for households utilizing multiple devices. Your Office of Digital Equity plans to address the digital divide issue in Clayton County in 2 phases, both of which are currently underway. Phase 1 is the creation of a digital equity strategic plan. Clayton County has procured the services of CTC Technology and Energy to identify and address gaps in affordable and reliable high-speed internet access, gaps in available digital devices, and skills gaps among the residents and businesses of the county. Phase 2 is the completion of a broadband feasibility study. The consultants of CTC Technology and Energy will assess the county's fiber assets to make a recommendation on whether or not it is feasible and sustainable for the county to become its own municipal broadband provider. As part of our ongoing effort to close the digital divide in Clayton County, we are hosting monthly affordable connectivity program signing events, otherwise known as ACP. These events will be held at various centers across the county to assist residents with applying for the benefit. Qualified households can receive a $30 discount on their monthly cell phone or internet bill, and a one-time $100 discount for a laptop or tablet to be used with the same service provider. Qualified households should be at or below the 200% of the federal poverty level or are participants in a government assistance program, such as SNAP, Medicaid, WIC, Social Security, Federal Public Housing, Pell Grant in the current award year, free lunch program, or the Lifeline benefit. In conclusion, our goal is to ensure that the residents and businesses of Clayton County have equal access to affordable and reliable high-speed internet, technology, and the skills needed to survive and compete in the digital world. Thank you for your time and attention. And for more information about our digital equity events and initiatives, visit our website at digitalequity.claytoncountyga.gov. And follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Clayton County ODE.
All right, is there any questions? We also tech. We're not just cleaning up around here. We're talking about tech.
That's right. So good morning, everyone. I'm Takia Thomas. I'm the Digital Equity Administrator. And if you all have any questions about what you heard in the presentation, please feel free to reach out to our office. We're at digital.equity@claytoncountyga.gov. And also I wanted to mention that today at Blair River Community Center, District 3, they're hosting the event just to share benefits with the county. So we'll be there from 12 to 3 today, and we're assisting residents with signing up for the ACP program that was mentioned in the presentation. And please, the takeaway from this is an extremely important initiative. About 20% of Clayton County residents do not have access to high-speed, reliable internet. And we have this office set up just to address that need. So if you have any questions about the initiatives, please send us an email. And you can also follow us, the shameless plug. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Clayton County ODE. That's for Office of Digital Equity. And thank you all for your time.
All right, and we don't have any questions for her on that. Everybody's internet is working well.
Commissioner Davis, I have a question.
Yes.
Freddie Edenfield, how much is the anticipated cost to the taxpayers of Clayton County? How much is Clayton County going to have to provide for this digital equity and inclusion program?
Now, as far as what, getting folk access or just,
Yes, what kind of a check, how much of a check will Clayton County have to cut on an annual basis, monthly basis, once this program becomes implemented?
now, I guess that, are we paying monthly fees for internet service?
Mm-mm. No, the ACP program is a federally funded program. It doesn't come out of Clayton County's budget at all. And any monies that we receive from the federal government to create programming, that comes from them. So there's not really a cost on the county end, if that's what you're asking.
That is exactly what I'm asking.
We had, yes,
Yes, internet is fine. The $100 credit on the cell phone bill, SSI qualifications, that's all that's required.
The $100 credit is to purchase like a laptop, tablet, or computer. And the catch to that is it has to be used in conjunction with your $30 discount. So like you can't have a $30 Metro discount and then do a $100 discount at Best Buy. It has to be both with Metro or both with whoever your provider is. And yes, if you're on SSI, you most likely will qualify for it.
Yes, just for the phone, just for the
Yeah,
laptop.
The $30 is for internet access, and it can be used toward a cell phone also. And the $100 is to purchase technology, and that's a one-time discount. Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
And this is for low income.
Mhm. Yes, ma'am. So if you're on Section 8, food stamps, SSI, even Pell Grant for younger people that are in college and maybe they're independent of their parents' income, if they qualify for the Pell Grant, they would be, they will qualify for the program.
Now, do you have a flyer, I get a copy of the,
Yes, we can send it to you. Mhm.
send those to
it'll be
you,
posted on the commission's
Oh,
website.
yes. And
We had the director of broadband a couple months ago do a presentation. With the internet access, is this going to improve the quality of service that I already have? Because as much as I ask or pay additional money for my internet provider, I still get buffering. So this means we'll have more cell towers. This will improve the service.
I'm not sure about the cell towers, but the federal government's goal is for everyone to have 100 megabyte, that's just the speed of your internet, 100 megabyte download, 25 upload. Currently, most of Clayton County is 25 download and 3 upload. So it's a huge difference. It's some people that have the 100, but most in Clayton County have the 25, 3 instead of the 125.
So this just.
So this is a long-term goal.
It doesn't improve the quality.
It'll improve the speed of your internet.
And a lot of that you're speaking of is coming from your ISP, your internet service provider. They are looking at something from a federal level where they're even trying to increase the minimum speeds faster than that. Your download speeds are always faster than your upload speeds. So we have to realize that, but a lot of that's going to be dealing with your service provider. It's about how do we begin to create the infrastructure, cell phone towers and other type of lines that be laid, fiber lines or any other type of lines being laid in our county. Any other questions?
Thank you for your question.
All right. I knew we had something. We had something. It was too quiet. Too quiet. So, all right, we've dealt with that. Chief, you still there? Chief Roberts?
Yes, sir. You would call on me after a discussion about digital equity. I believe that contributed to my sound on problems because I'm out of town.
Yes, let's hope it doesn't freeze.
Well, with that, I know that you've heard from Captain Flynn, and I will try not to duplicate anything that he's spoken about. I will say this, over the last 4 weeks, we've seen an 18% decrease in our overall crime compared to the month of September. I'm pleased about that as we move towards the holidays. Unfortunately, our homicides sit at 42, which is 4 more than the same time last year. We were at 38. That being said, the majority of our homicides are persons known to each other. We still have conflict resolution issues that result, unfortunately, in death. And as recent as just a few days ago, we had a homicide involving persons known to each other. We'll still continue to try to reduce those, but it's quite the challenge. Good news, as we combat our recruitment issues, we have a potential next recruit class starting in January of 20+ recruits.
Oh, wow.
We've not seen that number probably in over a year and a half. And we're doing well. We've changed some of our recruitment tactics. And there's actually a hiring fair going on today, as I'm not in space, but my deputy chief is, and we've been offering conditional offers on the spot, and we've seen success in that endeavor. So I'm looking forward to more classes like this so we can get our numbers back up.
Great.
In past meetings, I'm sorry.
No, great, great.
In past meetings, I've spoken about the Fuses platform. It has been procured. The planning and implementation is underway with a target go live date of 60 days. So that's the platform that will allow us to access resident and business cameras with permission, in addition to county cameras, to create a net of surveillance to apprehend our offenders more quickly throughout the county and the region. So I look forward to that. And of course, as we approach the holidays, we'll start our holiday operations on Black Friday after Thanksgiving to reduce our overall crime. And that's pretty much all I have, Commissioner. I spoke with Captain Flynn, and I believe he covered everything else. And I'm free to take questions.
Chief,
Yes, sir.
what are holiday operations?
Holiday operations are reapplication of resources. We usually take our narcotics units and other investigators and actually move them towards crime suppression and potential high crime areas, high theft areas, due to more people being out and about and shopping. We want to reduce our thefts from vehicles. We want to reduce our thefts from persons and our robberies. So instead of doing their normal street narcotics duties, we're moving other investigatory resources towards policing the streets.
Great.
And that usually happens the day after Thanksgiving through New Year's.
Commissioner Davis. Yes, this is Judy Taylor again. I had two questions, one for the police and one for code enforcement, I believe. What is the rule or the regulations as far as go-karts, regular go-karts running on our county streets in neighborhoods and everything too, like that? I wanted to check that out to see if they're allowed. I don't think they're allowed, but we do have that. So I just wondered what the rule was with that.
They are not licensed motor vehicles to be driven on county roadways. We need to get a call, and that's just a fatal accident waiting to happen. So if that's going on in the community, I'm glad you made us aware, Ms. Taylor, and I'm sure Captain Flynn is taking note. If you have a specific area where that's occurring, I think we would love to have that so we can be proactive.
I don't know where it comes from, but it's a young male and he does wear a helmet, but he just darts all around all over. He was out there Halloween night too, all over the place in the midst of all of our traffic and everything that was going on. And he comes around often all during the daytime and everything. I don't exactly know where he's coming from, but he goes around all of our streets. So I'll try to get more information and, and inform Captain Flynn about that. Right. And the other question I had was, when we talked about the Terra Woods Apartments and the abatement, when we mentioned that nuisance abatement was different, and that if the owner did not take care of the tearing down or doing what he has to do, then the county would have to do. But who pays for that? Do we still actually make sure the owner has to pay in the end for anything like that happens?
Taylor, Cat McDonald. Yes, ma'am. Once that's done, all the paperwork will be put together and submitted to the tax commissioner's office for a tax lien to be put on that property. Any expenses the county incurred.
That's as it should be, because they've not taken care of that property in so long. They should have to take care of any expense without as much trouble as they've been to the county and to the neighborhood. They need to have to be the ones to pay for it.
And being that it's a tax lien versus a property lien, that has to be paid, where property liens typically only last for 3 years and have to be reinstated. So the tax commissioner will file the papers for the actual tax lien.
Thank you so much. I don't believe I mentioned to you how much I appreciate the work you've done on this. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
Any other questions? Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. I wanted to ask the chief, is there a current specialized fraud division, or does he anticipate on creating a fraud division? Because that's a big increase within our community.
Did you hear that, Chief Roberts?
I believe I heard Mr. Jefferson.
Is there a fraud unit? Or is there anticipation of beginning one? Is that correct?
Yes,
I know there is not a specific fraud unit. We do have fraud investigators under the property crimes umbrella. And I will say this, Mr. Jefferson, I don't have enough. We have our detectives doing double, triple, quadruple duty, as you know. And until I get these numbers up, I'm not able to create a separate fraud unit. I have to deal with the most prominent crimes, which are those fraud and identity theft crimes, in addition to our property crimes, our robberies, our homicides. That's why it's so vitally important that we have these classes like we will have upcoming of 20 plus recruits, so I can do some more segmenting and bring in a full unit dedicated completely to fraud, because you are correct. We have a vast amount of fraud and identity theft that merits attention. Right now, our detectives are really handling it as much as they can handle in their capacity.
Great, thank you. Yes, next question.
Chief Roberts, what
Yes,
is the
sir.
average response time? And is it done by district or is it overall response time? And the other one is, they're having, I think Atlanta's having a big recruitment thing today. Are we competitive in terms of what we're offering possible recruiters, police recruitment people? I mean, in other words, are we being outbid by the other counties in terms of what we can offer them? They're having signing bonuses and all that. We can't be efficient if we're not competitive.
Well, let me say this, response time departmentally, I believe it was 8.2 or 8.5 seconds. I don't have it in front of me, but we look at it weekly and it does change depending on the calls that we've responded to in the week. The national norm has been 11 minutes. So we are well under the normal response time. As far as being competitive, we are competitive in certain aspects. It might not totally be even playing field salary wise, because that's based on funding. The same with the salary incentive, but we are better space in areas to offer training. I don't know if you know, Atlanta just started their take-home car program.
Right.
Their take-home cars amount to 40 vehicles. We have substantially more opportunities for our officers to have take-home cars because of the size of the agency. So there's some offsets there, and we have better opportunity for growth due to diversity. So I would say we are competitive. We might not be competitive in every category across the board, but we have areas where we excel where others don't, and vice versa, if that makes sense. So I can say all day, hey, Board of Commissioners, give me more money, and we can still not be as successful because we have a great salary. But if we didn't have great opportunities for success with this generation, it's key that they have somewhere to go within the department in the next 2 to 3 years. So even if you have them in space at year number 5 and they're making 70 grand, if they're not professionally satisfied, they're still apt to leave. And I've heard that from the mouths of people that have left our agency. So to that end, Mr. Gooden, we are competitive.
Great. Yeah, any other questions for Chief, even though he's not going anywhere?
Yes, this is Judy Taylor again. It's not especially for the chief, may not. It may be for code enforcement more. I noticed that there's I was asking about tires in front of all these businesses on Terra Boulevard and everything too. They continuously put more and more of these old tires out in front of their businesses and everything that you can see from the road and everything. Is there any rule or regulation, or have we not doing that anymore to where they have to put them either inside or in backup or in a fence? And the other question I had was in neighborhoods. We have quite a few houses that have carports, and people just put everything in the world on their carport. They put old cars, they put appliances, they put just trash, bags of trash, everything on their carports and everything. But, and the rule is you're not supposed to have appliances outside. So I was wondering, is there anything we can do to look at that regulation to see if it should not apply to carports also, because it makes the house and the neighborhood look so bad. Plus, it's dangerous to have appliances out on carports where children could get inside and close up and then not be able to get out and everything too. So I wonder what's the rule and regulation about the tires and about trash and debris on carports.
Code enforcement or Captain McDonald?
Yes, tire shops are allowed to maintain a certain amount of tires outside, but we're actually planning to do a tire shop blitz in the very near future for every tire shop in Clayton County. Just to make sure that they haven't forgot what it takes to be in compliance. It's gonna be an extensive blitz, but that is in the future before the end of the year. The carport is a slippery slope for us to travel on because it's still considered part of your home, and we just can't go up into your home and look at violations like that. There'll need to be some conversations that we have with legal department to make sure we're not violating anybody's constitutional rights.
Thank you. Yes.
In reference to code enforcement, what I've found, especially in my vicinity where I live at, what is the collaboration between municipalities and county code enforcement? Because that's where the glitch comes, especially with these tractor trailers parking on weekends.
That's a good question. Captain McDonald, you want to address that and talk about
One of the things I've been trying to work with is building a very good relationship with the municipalities. Of course, our enforcement stops in the corporated areas of the county, so we don't have any jurisdiction inside of Jonesboro or Riverdale, but we are working to build that relationship as we speak.
It's an ongoing, not always successful, but it's an ongoing, and it is successful though as well. I mean, I know that's a kind of clash of terms, but yes, we're going to continue to work with municipalities and communication to begin to try to mitigate and minimize a lot of these efforts.
Thank you.
A lot of these issues, I'm sorry. All righty, let's move on and then we can come back to the question. I want to bring, Dr. Smith, are you there? We want to begin to talk about some of the ERAP, the Emergency Rental Assistance Programs. We have an event coming up we have 3 events getting ready to come up to address those. Dr. Smith, are you there?
Good morning, sir. Yes, I'm
Good morning.
here. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Shalonda Smith. I am the Chief Strategy Officer for the Office of Performance Management under the BOC. One of the responsibilities that our office has is the emergency rental assistance through Department of Treasury. So we have 2 different types of funding in this set space. One is ERA1, which is consolidated appropriations from Department of Treasury, in which we received about 8.7 million. All those funds were expended as of September 30th. We assisted over 4,000 families. 7 million was in rental assistance, 600,000 was for extended stay. That's those individuals that were living in cars and they needed immediate assistance. And then we used about 300,000 in utilities. On the ERA, with that being said, we were able to get reallocation from DCA. Department of Community Affairs is in collaboration with all of the local jurisdictions in the state of Georgia, where we meet bi-weekly. And what happens is if you do not meet the benchmark of what Treasury guidelines state, those funds have to be reallocated back to Department of Treasury. DCA did not meet the benchmark, so the governor reached out to Treasury and requested that all allocations or reallocations stay within the state of Georgia. Clayton County was able to receive an additional 9 million and then a second additional reallocation of 6 million. We have to have those funds extended by December of this year. So yes, we're talking less than 30 days that we have to expend out about $15 million. So what we're doing is, and I'll get to those events to kind of help streamline that process, but I'll jump over to ERA 2, which is part of the American Rescue Plan Act. Those funds we received about 10 million. We've expended about 6 million in our eviction diversion program. So we've been trying to help Chief Judge Keisha Wright Hill in that space where we assisted 13 families from being evicted. And we're still working on looking at an eviction diversion program in said space. And help with the backlog. In our meeting where we meet with our vendors bi-weekly, we met on Wednesday, and Judge explained to us that she has been able to hire 4 new judges as it relates to evictions to assist with their backlogs. So now we're trying to see a good streamline of all those eviction backlogs, actually court hearings being filed and attended to. So with that being said, we are doing well in that space. It's been a challenge not only for Department of Treasury, but for all jurisdictions receiving ERA assistance. But when you get a reallocation, that speaks volumes in terms of what you're doing for the constituents in your county. But we have some events that will kind of help us in said space to expend as close as possible the 15 million that we've received. The first event, we have a lunch and learn that's strictly for just landlords. That event is going to take place November 17th. It's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And that's at the Clayton County International Park at the Lakeview Event Center. And our goal is to, in this space, and this will be our 3rd lunch and learn for landlords. So landlords are clear and understand all things ERAP, and making sure that they understand the process and what their role is in making sure that their applicant or the applicant or tenant process the application fast, because it's a collaboration between the landlord and the tenant in terms of getting the application approved and the funds expended.
Dr. Smith,
Yes, sir.
when these individuals do show up at these events in order to apply, what kind of information do they need to bring with them?
So they will have to bring, so the beauty right now that Treasury has given us is that they can self-attest. And what that means is we will have forms in place. The forms are embedded in our application process as well. All they have to do is self-attest that they either have been affected by COVID, they've lost wages, they have financial issues or a financial strain that is prohibiting them to reside in their place, or they're homeless. So those forms will be available on site, and it's actually in the application. So what we're asking each individual to do when they register for the event, we're also giving them the website to the application so they can go ahead and start the application process even prior to coming to the event. And in that, they'll be able to click those self-attestation forms, complete them, and send them right back into the application. So as you're moving through the steps of the application, you'll be able to pull that form out, sign it, do electronic signature on it, and put it back in the application. So we're trying to streamline the process as much as possible in that space.
And what we did is we had an emergency board of commission meetings this past Tuesday, and that was to approve the vendors. I think, what is it, 4 vendors or 5?
We have 3 vendors that have been approved for the emergency, but we already had 2 vendors in said space as of last year. So all 5 vendors will be working together collaborative to get these funds out.
We begin to expedite the funds to those citizens that need it. And
Yeah.
I know, questions, let's get to the questions. Hold on, we got a question, but I know we got a question right there, because I can tell your whole body language changed.
Well, I think, and I just want clarification.
Okay,
As far as this program is concerned, I know that on the board was like how COVID affected you and things of that nature. Is it something that anyone is beginning to participate in as far as how the rent has increased dramatically as far as, you know, what individuals were paying maybe 3 years ago versus now?
so you say, if you don't need the rental assistance, can you still fill it out to say how COVID has affected you? Or is this those that do need?
That affected, it made it
Oh,
I think
okay.
keep up with how the market is just constantly changing and increasing. Is there any program that kind of geared toward that or in conjunction?
Dr. Smith, would the ERAP program address that?
I could hear her question. She was going.
Basically, I've had several, and I've heard of this several instances where our rent has just astronomically jumped up 75, 100% in some cases during this COVID season. Is
Mhm.
that a legitimate reason to apply for ERAP?
No, that's not a legitimate reason to apply for.
Is there other options where they can begin to go just to seek services?
So with Department of Treasury, there are particular guidelines that you have to abide by in said space to receive assistance. One, you have to be impacted by COVID. So
Understand.
we get a lot of, there's rental increase across the nation. When we meet, that's always the issue. But the only thing we can do is provide them other additional resources that can help them in that said space. Because again, we still have to abide by Treasury guidelines, which states they have to be COVID impacted.
Understand. Can we begin to get a list of those additional resources?
We do. Our call center provides that information, and we have a new call center in said space that will be able to assist applicants that do not or not eligible to receive assistance when it comes to ERAP.
Do we have that? What's that call center number? Do you know that offhand?
It's 770-347-0212.
770-347-0212.
Yes, and then the new call center, we have two that will be working. So I'll give you that number as well when you're ready.
Okay.
It's 855-252-9249.
855-252-9249.
That's correct.
Great, great. So we'll begin to get some of that information out on the website. And if you need any more assistance with that or anything, let's begin to take a look at that. Yes, sir.
Yes, for Dr. Smith, there seems to be an ongoing issue with the vetting of the vendors. Who is vetting them and how are they being vetted? And the other issue that came up the other day was they're adding another layer for the grant process instead of giving the tools to departments to Dr. Smith so we can expedite the grants. We're adding another person to oversee this.
Two separate issues here. One is the grants, okay, and we can address that. Dr. Smith, have time to address that
Okay.
after this. But right now, let's still on that, just still currently that ERAP and dealing with what he's talking about.
So good morning. So the vetting process goes through our central services, and it has always been because Treasury guidelines state that we have to request these funds out and we have to do it through an RFP process. So the vetting process has always been through our central services. Because we are the user department, we are not in that process. We take other departments that have some background in said space, and they're the ones that are on the committee and vet those individuals. And it was the same process here. The difference between the two vendors and these three vendors we just received, Treasury guideline allowed us to, because we need to get the money out so quickly, the guidelines stated that we can have written agreements with the nonprofits as long as the applicant has an application in our system. So with that being said, we still had to vet them a certain way, but we were able to move quickly as opposed to going through the total complete RFP process through our central services department.
You answered this question. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. In the landlord lunch and learn process,
Mhm.
a lot of landlords are out of state, so therefore they have property managers or what the courts call registered. The property manager is allowed to come and represent the landlord at these lunch and learn.
Yes, they are.
They are. Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Dr.
And I
Smith.
will also tell you, sir, that we're really trying to get it out because the last two events we've had maybe 5 to 6 landlords in attendance. And we're really trying to get more landlords in said space, so they're clear in terms of what the process is, so that they can work with the applicant to ensure that we get the money out to them and approved.
Got it. Any other questions online? Great, great.
Before you start, Commissioner, I do want to give the dates to all of our events.
Okay.
As possible. So, and there's several locations, but we're doing them simultaneously. So our first event will be November 19th. It's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the locations are Living Faith Church in Forest Park, Clayton County Police Headquarters in Jonesboro, and Virginia Burton Gray Rec Center in Riverdale. And that's on November 19th. And these events will start going out through communications over the weekend.
Great.
And then our next one is December 3rd, same time. Locations are a little bit different. We still have Living Faith in Forest Park, Clayton County Police Department Headquarters, and then Frank Bailey Senior Center in Riverdale.
Great.
And then on December 17th, we have one still at Police Headquarters, Flint River Community Center, and then Carl Rosner Rec Center.
All right.
We're requesting that everyone register. And when you register, make sure you pay attention to the location where you're registering so that you go to the right location.
Great, great. Thank you, Dr. Smith, for that. And please, let's begin to get, we all know somebody that's in need, and let's begin to get this information to them so that we can begin to assist them. The federal government has given us these funds in order to assist these residents, and we want to begin to assist them in an expeditious fashion. So please help us with that. Any other questions for Dr. Smith before she goes? Thank you, Dr. Smith.
You're welcome, sir. I'll stay on if anyone has any questions after.
Great, great. Community affairs, you have anything? Okay, so nothing from community. Let me see, I have checked off so many pieces on this agenda. Where are we? We've gone through our ordinances and updates, gone through our crime stats. Is Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec here? I guess they are not, so we don't have a Park and Recs update. Though I can tell you, we have cleared and leveled the field or the grassy area at the Lake Spivey Rec Center to begin to just make it a green space. So it looks a lot more attractive than it did about a month and a half ago. So I want to tell you about that one as well. What else do we have here? As far as our ordinances, we have to remember now, and let's be cognizant, we've got some people who have some respiratory issues, but right now burn season is in. So folks are burning those leaves and burning debris. Code enforcement chief, does anybody want to talk about the do's and don'ts of burning?
I would need our good brothers from the fire department to really speak to that. I'm not a fan at all, because even if you start the fire, the police are gonna be around until fire department gets there. I see code enforcement hit a hot mic. Go ahead, code enforcement.
I would have to agree with Chief. That kind of falls under the fire department wheelhouse. The only thing personally that I can say is if you do burn, be sure you get a permit through the fire department.
Well, I think now we don't need the permit, but you do need to make a call to make sure that as of that day, it's open for burning.
And don't burn your garbage.
Davis,
Yes, ma'am.
because I don't think we should be having outdoor burning because of the dangers it involves. But anyway, so I do monitor that, and I do know that you are supposed to call the burn line on a daily basis to see if burning is allowed. And also, you're only supposed to burn very small amounts of pine straw and leaves, and you're not supposed to burn close to any type of dwelling. You have to be, someone has to be there to monitor the fire. There has to be water available, and it has to be out by dusk. And also, if the smoke from this fire bothers people and affects their health and welfare, then you can call 911 and the fire department will come out and they will ask them to put out the fire. And that's who you call to report illegal burning. And you can never burn garbage, trash, building materials, things like that at all, because it smells to high heaven and settles in all over your neighborhood. And the smoke doesn't just stay in your yard. It goes everywhere and affects children and older adults that have breathing problems and everything too. So call and report illegal burning 911.
Well, we are going to do it, but folks are going to burn, and we have to realize that they have the right under the law to burn. So we want to begin to just be good neighbors. Those folks that do have those upper respiratory illnesses and are very, very sensitive to smoke. Let's be cognizant of that with what we're doing, but also to really go out to that website and make sure that that day that you're trying to burn, which is on the weekends many times, is available, and the fire department has said, yes, it's okay to burn. And burn only recommended amounts of what's needed, or recommended items of what's needed. Anything else from code? Any questions that we may have? Open it up. Concerns, issues? We got one here first. Go, sir.
Regarding the burning, I don't burn. People in my neighborhood, I can smell it.
Right.
And it gets on your clothes and all that. But if you choose not to burn, your trash company does not pick that up. Now, what I do is I have my lawn guy come by and chop it up. That's not always feasible for everybody.
Correct.
What are their options? If the fire department comes out and says, no, you can't, what are you gonna do with this week?
Well, let me ask code enforcement if they're, or even refuse if they're on the line. If they begin to bag those leaves up and put them out on the curb, can they begin to call and have refuse?
Yes, they can call refuse control, and for 32 bags is only $20. Of course, the fee goes up once you go over 32 bags, but so if you clean your yard out and you can't burn, you can always call us to come and pick it up for a small fee.
Right. So we got the fee, you got the number of bags, right? Okay, so you all can work together. You can pay. All right, any other questions? Back here, I'm sorry. Speak up.
Refuge, or I guess.
Okay.
Regarding the weeds and all that stuff is being overgrown. I was wondering what the update as far as, especially on Power Road, where our stadium is. My daughter takes the bus. She has to walk that sidewalk. Many times she has to even go out to the street because it's taking up so much of the sidewalk. In addition to, I have to drop her off every day in the morning, and I am unable to even see the cars coming up. There's a hill that goes up Thursday, so I'm already doing that.
We have, I know that's dealing with that whole Battle Creek widening project. We have gotten out there to cut, I know it was a couple of weeks ago, to begin to cut it down at that corner because it was, like you said, way overgrown to where the kids had to walk out in the street, but also cars couldn't even see. If that is still there, please let me know and I'll begin to get some car refuse and get them back out again.
Detail, but if you're coming out of that Tar Stadium, anyone who is trying to cut down, if they pull up just to see how it is for a driver, they will be able to gauge how far back they really need to go. The sidewalk may not, it's not the end of the problem.
Right.
That just deals with people who are walking. But when you go and I pull up to just the line where I'm supposed to not enter the street, you can, and for a driver, it's still not
Okay.
applicable.
Well, we'll go ahead and get refuge out there, and begin to take a look at that and begin to cut that back. I know we have to also get with the people that are out there doing the servicing that area for that, and get them also to take care of what they need to take care of as well. So it's kind of it's two folks need to begin to take care of that, but we'll take care of the issues we need to take care of. Any other questions? It's
What's
quiet today.
about the
Yes.
Urban Village? Do you have an update on what's going on to Urban Village at the old Walker's Nursery location? We know
Yes.
they've cleaned structures out of there, and they've been cleaning the weeds out of that area, but have they given you a detailed plan yet on what they're going to do?
We do not have a detailed plan as of yet. Right now, they are just cleaning the area, getting a lot of the trash and debris and things out of the area to make it just a little bit more aesthetically appealing to those walking. I am scheduled to begin to meet with them over the next couple of weeks to begin to look at what they're trying to do with developing an urban village over in that area.
All right, thank you.
And once I do, we will make the neighborhood aware of what's taking place.
All right.
Okay.
Another question.
Yes.
Road between Walt Stevens and 138 seems to be a regular dumping ground for fast food containers, beer bottles. Can Refuge put them on a schedule to check them out once or twice a month to keep that area clean?
You're saying, are they on a schedule?
Yes.
I don't believe. Go ahead.
What road was that again, sir?
That's Crane Road that borders the International Park between 138 and Walt Stevens. I walk there at least 2 days a week, and I've called in trash pickup a couple times, but it seems to be a regular dumping ground for people driving through there.
Okay, so the way that we do our schedule, there are certain main roads that we actually have on a monthly schedule. The other smaller roads, because we have so much to cover, we need the citizens' help to call in and let us know when it needs to be walked. And we will come out and walk it, but it's just, we can't put every single road, excuse me, on a monthly schedule. But we will come out and clean it if you call and let us know that, you know, hey, it's dirty again, we need to come and clean it.
Yeah, and please just reach out to me and let us know, because I will call Refuge, and they're very swift in getting out there to clean up those roads when they're impacted by trash like that.
All right, thank
Okay,
you.
and do you have my information?
Yes, I do.
Great. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what the young lady said. If there are branches or trees or whatever that's blocking the view, like when I exit my subdivision, who do I call for that?
You can call refuse control, but it's going to depend on how high up in the thickness of the area is. If we are unable to clear it, we may have to refer it to Transportation and Development. And they actually have a piece of equipment called an arm tractor, where they'll be able to shave back all the trees. But that's something that, you know, if you call in, I'll go out there and make that determination. If it's something that we can handle, we'll go ahead and take care of that. If not, we'll go ahead and refer it to Transportation and Development.
Great, thank you.
Is there an email address for reference control at transportation development?
Is there an email address for transportation or Refuge?
Yes, this refuse, you can even call in at, I'm at 770-477-3548. You can go on to the Click Clayton website and fill out a complaint. And that's those are the quickest way to get your complaints into us.
And if you have my card, on the back of my card is Refuge control number as well. So is anybody online? Another question online? Question here, yes.
Yes, the gentleman was talking about Crane Road
Mhm.
and 138. There was a Zoom call earlier that maybe I wasn't clear. There is a difference between, it's garbage, but trash and litter. We're talking about the importance of mandatory trash. Captain McDonald and I had a conversation. He's in favor of it. My issue is furniture, TVs and all that.
Mhm.
That's trash. I heard you speak about it. When somebody dumps an Arby's bag
Yeah.
out the window,
That's lit.
that's lit. Okay, and an issue of, it's coming up. Mandatory trash is not going to address the litter problem.
Correct. And I have had, in District 4, we have had community forums on the mandatory trash initiative.
Okay.
And I'm possibly going to have another one soon to begin to listen to folks, since it is beginning to rear its head again and make a determination whether it's going to become fruition or not.
Well, the conversation came up. We need to have a forum with all representatives or residents of the districts, so we can talk about the advantages and disadvantages. The issue that I had was, why are residents who are paying for trash now going to be paying for an administration fee?
And that's a question, but I'd say this, because right now we've gone 8 minutes over, and if we want to go 108 minutes over, we could deal with this issue. But I tell you what we'll do. I'll now begin to schedule that sooner than later, so that we can begin to discuss it. Is that fair enough? All right. Any other questions? Online? All right, we got a couple. I want to just thank everybody for being in presence with us, both virtually and in person. Like I said, I want to go over a couple of the events we do have. Dr. Smith talked about the ERAP program that we're going to have on, and these are also going to be listed on our website. And we put them out there on Facebook and others as far as the ERAP programs and those dates. Living Faith Tabernacle, Clayton County Police Headquarters, Community Room in Virginia, Burton Gray, that's on 11/19. Then on 12/3, we have some more. So we're going to put them all out there. Right now, every Wednesday starting in November, the Clayton County Extension will be providing 30-minute nutrition education sessions at Government Circle. If you attend these sessions, you'll receive a free bag of produce while supplies last. There's no registration needed, just show up. The Clayton County Youth Commission is hosting a canned food drive November 14th to December 5th. These are our young folks in high school that come and really are engaged in our county. This is our youth commission, and they do a fabulous job. So let's support them. Their location is at drop-off location, the Jim Huey Recreation Center, Carl Road Neisner Recreation Center, South Clayton Recreation Center, Virginia Burton Gray Recreation Center, and Lake Spivey Recreation Center, as well as the headquarters, Forest Park Library, Lovejoy Library, Morrow Library, and Northwest Library, and Riverdale. So they have quite a few. So let's go ahead and support them. We spoke about the IT department and digital equity. If anybody has any questions or information, please contact us regarding that. Arts Clayton is having a Merry Market Saturday in November, December from 10 to 3 at South Main in Jonesboro, 136. So let's begin to support that. What else do we have here? Clayton County Police is hiring, Clayton County Central Services is hiring, as well as the last one is the Clayton County Law Library is inviting everybody out to a law library dedication ceremony honoring retired late Judge William H. Eisen. That's going to be on Friday, December 2nd at noon at the Harold R. Bank Justice Center. So please come out and let's dedicate this in the name of a good person that has done some things. So if there's no more questions, I want to thank everybody for coming in. Thank our PD and our first responders for all that they do. We want them to always keep safe and always protect us, our citizens as well. So thank you all. You all have a very Merry Christmas and a happy Thanksgiving, but we will have our next community meeting in public, in person and in Zoom, and that is on Saturday, December 10th at 11 a.m. So that's Saturday, December 10th at 11 a.m. So I look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you and have a great weekend.